Hi everyone, it's Lorraine Hurst here from Healthworks, and I'm going to run a session which is called Comedy Club. I'll do my best to be funny, but I've got some help with some videos. I'm going to discuss what laughter and comedy does for our bodies and our minds and how good it is for us. So I'd like to start this session by showing you, letting you listen to a clip from Benny Hill. We're not showing the actual video because that's less appropriate, but the music is really funny. So I want to encourage you, while you're listening to this music, to move along and do some silly moves, whatever you like, whilst this is actually playing, just to get us in the mood. Here we go. Let me share my screen and start the video.
Why are these 70-pound shoes taking the UK by storm? Because they will help you for...
So we'll get rid of the adverts there. What did you think of that? Did that make you feel a little bit more alive and awake? I hope it did. We've got a few different clips to show you and to talk about comedy. I want to just go into some real classic comedy because this is mainly for Stonewater retirement population. And again, we're going to have some, it's going to sort of be something about music, but this time we've got the visuals. We've got the classic comedy, Morecambe and Wise. And again, let me just make sure I can share the screen here with you easily. And forgive me if some of the adverts come up because this is YouTube. Okay. Here we go.
Alison, quick look at his red. This bit. Red.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Here are my silly glasses. Silly glasses are optional. I've got silly hats as well. But I just wanted to put on some silly glasses just to make myself feel happier and hopefully make you go, whoa, what are those? Where did they come from? Yes, you can just get them in any pound shop, I think. Okay, so the classic Morecambe and Wise, very funny. I chopped stuff just at the end so we didn't end up with any adverts. Again, did that make you laugh? Did it make you smile? Did it make you happy? So comedy comes in many different guises, doesn't it? And we'll talk about what it does for our bodies in a moment. Here's another example of Morecambe and Wise, this time more about getting something wrong, so it's funny. So there's double meanings to things, double meanings. And it's my BlackBerry is not working. I'll just put that one on screen so we can have a look at that one. Bear with me. Do you like my glasses? Okay. So we're going to share this and take a look.
I bought something from you last week and I'm very disappointed.
Oh, yeah? What's the problem?
Yeah, well, my BlackBerry is not working.
What's the matter? Run out of juice?
Oh no, it's completely frozen.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I'll tell you what, let's try it on orange.
Got a few black spots, you see.
Oh, dear, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, then I knew to get my BlackBerry working.
Well, it could be an application issue. But where do you store that BlackBerry?
It's on my desktop.
Well, you could try using a mouse to drag the BlackBerry to the trash. Then after you've done that, you might want to launch the BlackBerry from the desktop.
Well, I've already tried that a few times. I mean, all it did was mess up Windows.
Well, it might be worth waiting a couple of weeks. They got the latest BlackBerries coming in then.
Well, could you give me a date?
Certainly.
Let me put that date in my diary.
Anything else I can help you with?
Yes. I've also got a problem, to be honest, with my Apple.
Oh dear, that is an old Apple, isn't it?
Yeah.
When did you buy that?
Last week.
Last week? Oh, they brought out 2 new Apples since then. What's the problem with it?
Well, I'm trying to put my dongle in. Well,
Yeah. It's your dongle.
well, I don't know much about these things, but my wife's seen a few dongles in her time. She says it's a little bit on the small side.
I'm afraid there's not a lot I can do about that. Tell you what, let me try booting it. Scratched. Anything else I can help you with?
Well, funnily enough, yes, my grandson's birthday soon.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see. Now, he's already got an apple and a blackberry. I mean, have you got anything else that you might just like?
Well, we're doing a special offer on these. I mean, I can't make head or tail of them, but the kids seem to like them. Xbox. 360.
Brilliant. Okay. Excellent. I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me take my silly glasses off. And whilst I tell you a little bit about what comedy does to our bodies and our minds. So when we laugh, first of all, our minds are in neutral. So rather than maybe being in the past or in the future when we're thinking about things, it brings us more into the present. And that's really useful for helping us deal with any stresses that are going on in our lives. So that's quite important. But what it does is also helps us release lots of endorphins and other feel-good hormones. And these hormones are called serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. So what laughter does is it literally swaps out the stress hormone cortisol in our bloodstream with these feel-good hormones. So it's literally replacing the stress hormones in our bodies. And it's the same as singing or breathing or movement. All of these things can do very similar things. But if your thing is laughter, or if you're having a bad day and you feel like you just really need to release, there's also the fact that it does cause you to, laughter causes you to smile, which tells your body that you're happy. It's also, you'll be moving your diaphragm as well. It's a great release and good for ourselves, good for us. So it also is really good for our immune system. So it increases the number of antibody producing T cells, or the antibody producing cells are actually enhancing the effectiveness of T cells, which are the ones that help us fight infections and so on. And it means we have a robust immune system. So that helps us when these bugs come along, and or not just COVID, because at the moment we've got suppressed immune systems because we've been through the pandemic and not being exposed to viruses. So we need to boost our immune system, and that's one way we can do it, through laughter. So we've looked at Blackberry. Let's look at some other sort of funny words again. So we're sort of in the words area of comedy, and see if this makes you laugh. You've got to find the kind of comedy that you like, that makes you laugh, obviously. Let me share my screen.
Good evening. I'm speaking to you tonight, once again, as the chairman for the Loyal Society for the Prevention of Mispronunciation. Society formed to help people who can't say their worms correctly. I myself often use the wrong worms, and that is why I was elected chairman of the society. Firstly, let me try and put you in the puncture regarding our mumblers. Now, each and every plum of them have difficulty in conversing with the people they meet in everyday life. They're merkwaits at the fig tree or the orifice, or even in their own holes, min and woof, souther and fun, brother and thistle. Able to communicate. Now, this can be an enormous bandage up to our tremblers at all times, especially at business time, because bismuth is a season of grease on earth and pigsville to all men. When the family all get together to eat, drunk, and be messy. Gather around the fireside, cracking nits, smelling Tories and singing old pongs and barrels. Many of our rumblers lose out on these skinful pastimes. A very close fringe of mine, for instance, once went carol slinging with the local church choir. But instead of slinging Good King Wenceslas stuck out, feet were steaming, he sang, "Go rest your belly, gentlemen, let nothing rude display," which of course caused havoc among the queer and deeply upended the knicker's wife. This is just one instance of what my tremblers have to stiffer with a lipped upper stomach. What we need now is money to build clubs and calamity centres where people don't have to bother with the right worms, places where they can greet each other with a cheery "Good afternoon, nuts, how nice to squeeze you," where they can play a game of ping tennis or table pong, scribble or newts and crutches. Now, many famous people are patrons of the society. Piddlyticians like Widley Whitelaw, Sir Geoffrey Hu and Mr. Dennis Holey. Also famous TV nosebleeders like Reggie Boozenford, Mr. Ripon and Anna Flaw. And of course, Mrs. Hairy Whitemouse. Not to be confused with Mrs. Woodlouse, the hog dangler. Aristocracy, there is Lord Longfelt, there is the Duchess of Bedbug and Lord Montagu of Gooley. But patronage is not enough. Remember the worms of William Shakespeare's Our Great National Poets. Horse, a house, my kingdom for a hearse. And of course, eventually he got all three. We need is printed matter. Any sort of printed matter, no matter what sort. Send your magazines, newspapers, Dixon Booktionaries. Do it now. Bundle it up in pustules and post it to one of our mini branches, dotted all over the Bottichar. Minchester, Hermingbum, Loverpill, and as far north as the Firth of Forth. We are also busy setting up outposts in foreign parts too, all over the globe. In fact, we have just opened a branch in Siam. And now, in confusion, I would like you to join me in singing the Siamese national anthem to the tune of God Save the Queer.
Okay, I'll stop that one there. A lot of these are quite old and, you know, maybe not as politically correct as some of the more modern comedy, but I thought it might suit the people who might be watching this. So something else to say now about how comedy can help us notice how we think in our daily lives. And if we can notice how we think, and then maybe we can find humor in what we're thinking and reframe what we're thinking that in a way that's more useful to us. So first of all, as I say, finding something funny is good because it puts us in neutral. It also gives us that opportunity to think, oh, maybe I could think differently about this, which might help us to be less stressed in our daily lives. And not fall into what we call thinking traps. So what I mean here is that we take in so much information on a daily basis in our minds that we can't process it all. So we take these shortcuts when we're receiving information. And that's all about, especially in times of stress, especially when we're stressed. And they're automatic reactions and they're usually unconscious, so we don't know that we're doing it. But if we can see through comedy people doing it, we might say, yeah, I do that in times of stress, yeah, and that's funny, and yeah, and I can maybe reframe that. I can actually think in a more in a less thinking traps way. So what are thinking traps? So, for example, you've got jumping to conclusions. Most thinking traps are about jumping to conclusions, but let's use that one as the first one that we're thinking about. So we might make assumptions about a person or a situation with no evidence to back it up. You know, we might think, say that the Prime Minister of our time is, or ex-Prime Minister of our time is a bit of a plonker or something like that. But, you know, maybe we have got some evidence to go on in that case, but maybe we don't. So maybe we just see one situation and we think something about someone. Because they say something and they say a wrong word and we think, oh, they must be stupid. But maybe it's not the case that they're not intelligent. It's just that they said the wrong word. For example, we might personalize something where we go, it's all my fault, I did it, it's all my fault. And then we just put all the blame on ourselves for something. We might externalize, where we actually blame everybody else. It's never my fault, it's non è colpa mia, as they say in Italy. It's not my fault. It actually causes problems in relationships because we just don't want to take any blame. We don't want to discuss that. We want to just put the blame on someone else. We might also do some mind reading. So we actually think we know what the other person is thinking, but we don't. So we might think that when someone says to us, do you want to go for a walk? And you've just been out all day. You might think, well, they should know that I've been out all day because they know that. So of course I don't want to go for a walk. But they don't know that really, do they? They're just asking you a question. So that's one of those thinking styles. We might have emotional reasoning. So we might think that something's turned out differently to actually how it has turned out. So we have an argument with a friend and we talk about it with them, and we feel better. So we think the situation is better, but the friend may not have finished being upset with us. We didn't apologize, or they still feel bad, but we think it's okay because in our heads it is, because we've decided it worked out for the best. So that's another one. And then we've got overgeneralizing. Oh, everything is like that. Making sweeping statements. All seaside resorts are run down. Well, they're not all run down, are they? So that type of thing. So everything and always, when you hear yourself saying that, then you might be overgeneralizing. And then we've got magnifying and minimizing things. So when it's a little bit like overgeneralizing, but when we exaggerate something, or we overemphasize the importance of it. So when we're making mountains out of molehills, we've lost a piece of paper, and we can't find it anywhere. It's a bill, say, and we're just going completely ballistic because we can't find it. That would be magnifying. Or when we minimize something, when we're saying it's actually, not as important as it is, that's the opposite of that. We've also got catastrophizing, when it's a bit like magnifying, when we're really, really going crazy about something that is probably quite minor. But maybe catastrophizing is saying one thing's going to happen. So I can't find my shoes today, so today's going to be terrible. So that's like making 1 and 1, but adding those together and making 25, because just having a bad shoe day or a bad hair day doesn't mean you're going to have a bad day overall, for example. So that's catastrophizing. So that's those are examples of different thinking traps that we can all fall into. And a lot of comedy is depicting these thinking traps and these thinking styles and behavior styles. And one of the most classics for that, I always think is Basil Fawlty in Fawlty Towers, because there he is often displaying so many different thinking traps and exaggerated behavior. So have a look at this and have a think about any of those thinking traps that Basil is actually displaying here. And I hope you like the comedy. As I say, some of it is a little bit now not as politically correct as it would be today. Let me just share.
What have you done with my hotel? What have you done to my hotel? Yes.
It's nice. I like it there.
Stop. What have you done with my dining room door? Where is it?
I don't know.
Why don't you know I left it? You fell asleep. You fell asleep listening to all those orders and your fluffy and beach.
I don't want to do something like this.
I beg your pardon?
You hired a rider.
Oh, I see. It's my fault, is it? Oh, of course. There I was thinking it was your fault because you've been left in charge, or Manuel's fault for not waking you, and all the time it was my fault. I understand, mustn't I? You're a...
It's all right.
No, I'm doing that, Pauline. You go and see if the roof's still on.
Right. Let me just stop that one. Okay. Sorry about the adverts there. There we go. That is a classic Fawlty Towers clip with Basil Fawlty going a bit nuts there. And Polly is taking the blame, and then she's saying it's not her fault, then she's saying it's Basil's fault, and Basil's saying it's not his fault, and then he's going it is his fault, and then he's catastrophizing because he's saying that his wife is going to kill him, and she's going, we're all dead. You know, he's exaggerating what's happening in that situation. Obviously, it's not great if someone has papered over your door to your restaurant, but it's just an example of that type of behaviour. So see if you can see any more in this next Basil Fawlty clip. Here he's with Sybil this time, which got to have a bit of Sybil, haven't we, with our Basil Fawlty. Okay, so let me share screen.
What? There you go. There you are. Got together, have you? Yes, I might have guessed, mightn't I? Yes, I see. Of course, we're a bit behind the times out here in Torquay. Well, I'm sorry, but I have to go. We made a mistake. All these rooms are taken. I'm so sorry. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. I mean, you come in here just like that, and well, to be perfectly blunt, you have a very good time at our expense. I mean, I think you know what I mean. I mean, you have a very, very good time, haven't you? Well, not here you don't. Oh, no, you hang good. Well, that's taking care of that.
He's going on. Why don't you tell Polly to get her hat and coat?
Because she's going along with the Lloyds and that pair you let in. I've never seen anything like it in my life. My God.
Now, why are they leaving?
I'll tell you exactly why they're leaving. First of all, I go up there and I find that girl in his arms, in Lloyd's arms. 5 minutes later, Polly's in there.
Girl.
That girl.
She's his daughter.
What?
She's Mr. Lloyd's stepdaughter. They're all one family. She was at school with Jean. She's known them all for years.
3 years, huh?
4 years.
What have I done?
What have you done?
I told them to leave.
You've told them to leave?
What was I supposed to know? Why didn't you tell me, you half-wits? Why didn't they tell me? You can't blame me for this.
Go and tell them they can stay.
Why don't you go and tell them?
I didn't tell them to go.
Oh, no, I suppose it's all my fault, isn't it?
Go and tell them.
No, I won't.
You will.
No, I won't.
Oh, yes, you will.
Oh, yes, I will. Right, yes, that's right. So let me get you out of it. That's all I'm good for, isn't it? Basil Fawlty Limited. And our people's mess is cleared up. My appointment to my wife, Sybil. I mean, what am I going to say?
Tell them you made a mistake.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Is that what made Britain great? And it is fully a needle. And it is fully a needle. So sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, but my wife has made a mistake. I don't know how she did it, but she did. She made a complete pudding of the whole thing, as usual. Be perfectly all right, you say. I sorted it all out. I'm frightfully sorry, but you know what women are like. They got one brain between the lot of them. Well, not all of them, but I mean, some of them have in my life. So please do stay and see you all later on. Thank you so much. Please do stay. My wife made a most dreadful mistake.
Yes, I think she probably did.
There we go. That's a great example of blaming yourself, then blaming someone else, and then catastrophizing a little bit, and the classic basically making somebody else responsible for something. So jumping to conclusions, that's the main one, isn't it? There, jumping to conclusions. It's the great clips from Fawlty Towers. If you do have access to YouTube, you can go on there and watch many of these, which I always think are really great for looking at making you laugh, first of all, and secondly, looking at the human condition in an exaggerated way. So let us sort of draw this to a close. I've just got one more clip to show you before we finish, on possibly two, and this is more. Mr. Bean is a classic comedian where it's all about the ridiculous, really, and again, it's just to make us sort of cringe and laugh and release some of those happy endorphins. So let's see how he gets on with his swimming. We'll have to stop the clip partway through because it is quite a long clip, this one. But let's go with this one. To get this in place.
Switch to Chrome to protect yourself from malware. Less worrying, more surfing. Fast, safe, yours.
Please.
Sorry about that. There we go. That's a classic classic clip there from Mr. Bean. To make us laugh. And there's also that nervous energy, isn't there, in something like that, because it plays on some things that are genuinely people's fears, like fear of heights and that type of thing. Certainly mine anyway. So I don't think I'd go up to the top diving board unless it had a bar across, just so you could actually look over. Mr. Bean's a great one for doing those kind of nail biting clips. So do we have time for any more? We actually don't, I'm afraid. So I think what we should do is sing us out again with the Benny Hill show, and let that be the end of our session. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found some of the clips funny. I hope it's given you some inspiration for finding some comedy and things that you like to laugh at. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And don't forget to keep laughing. Bye for now. Share screen again. Oh, there's an advert to run before this.
Forget about injuries forever. Their ergonomic.
Here we go.
I've spent many years making my home.
I apologize. I've just got the wrong video there. Hang on a second.
Sharing special memories and everyday life with friends and loved ones. Making memories. This is where I belong. But when it started getting harder to climb stairs, I wondered what.
Here we go.
I've spent many years making.
Bye now. It was great to see you.